Your cat looked at you from across the room today, just for a moment. Then it slowly closed its eyes. You probably smiled, maybe whispered something soft and moved on with your evening. But here's what most cat owners never pause long enough to realize. That single blink wasn't a reflex. It wasn't tiredness. It was a confession. A quiet, ancient, deliberately offered confession. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you what it truly means when a cat begins withdrawing these gestures one by one, and why that silence should never be ignored. Every single day, your cat is having a conversation with you. Not with words, not even with sounds most of the time, with tiny, deliberate, evolutionarily ancient behaviors that were never designed for human eyes to catch. Most people walk right past them, not because they don't love their cats, but because no one ever taught them how to look, how to really look. Cats have been misread for thousands of years. Cold, independent, selfish, incapable of real attachment. And maybe that reputation made sense when people were only looking for the loud, obvious signals. The tail wag, the jump, the yelp of excitement. But a cat's love was never built for noise. It was built for depth. And once you learn to hear what lives underneath the quiet, you will never unsee it again. So let's begin with something that already happened to you today. Something you probably received and didn't fully understand. Your cat looked at you and blinked slowly. Maybe from the other end of the couch. Maybe from a windowsill across the room. It held your gaze for just a moment, soft, unhurried, and then let those eyelids fall. You might have thought nothing of it, but here's what was actually happening in that instant. In the wild, a cat does not close its eyes unless it is certain it is safe. Every survival instinct it carries, instincts that predate domestication by millions of years, screams to stay watchful. Eyes open, ears forward, guard never down. The eyes are the first line of defense against everything that could hurt them. Closing them, even for a single breath, is an act of total surrender. So when your cat looks directly at you and lets those eyelids fall, slow, deliberate, completely unhurried, it is not being drowsy. It is making a choice. A conscious, instinct-overriding choice to be defenseless in your presence. That is not merely comfort. That is devotion, distilled to its most essential form. The slow blink is the closest thing to a love letter a cat will ever write. And most people receive one every single day without ever stopping to read it. Try writing back. Lower yourself to their level. Hold a soft gaze. Then let your own eyes close slowly. Often they will answer, and in that exchange, no words, no movement, just two beings choosing to lower their guard at the same moment. Something passes between you that language was not built to hold. Now think about the way your cat moves through the house. More specifically, think about where it ends up. You walk into the kitchen, and within minutes, there they are. You settle on the couch, and they appear, not asking for anything, not meowing, just present. You close the bathroom door, and a paw slides quietly underneath. Most people assume this is habit, boredom, a vague hope that food might be involved. But consider what it actually means for an animal that was built for solitude, for self-sufficiency, for surviving entirely alone, to voluntarily spend its free hours inside your orbit. Cats have no evolutionary reason to follow you. Every corner of your home offers warmth. Every quiet room offers rest. There is no survival advantage in trailing a human from room to room. The only reason your cat does it is because something inside them, something deeper than logic, has decided that where you are is better than anywhere else. That is not habit. That is relationship. That is your cat saying, in the only language it has, that your presence is the place it has chosen to belong. And sometimes they won't follow immediately. You'll leave the room, and 5 minutes later you'll hear those soft, deliberate footsteps. That delay is not indifference. That is a cat that noticed the room felt different without you, and quietly decided to fix it. No announcement, no demand, just a small, private correction. Because that is how they love. Without performance, without expectation, without ever asking you to notice. Then, there is the belly. If you have ever had your cat roll over in front of you, completely, unhurriedly, paws loose, stomach exposed, eyes beginning to drift closed, I need you to stop and let that image fully register. The belly is where every vital organ lives. It is the most anatomically vulnerable part of a cat's entire body. Every instinct they carry, every piece of wiring that has kept their species alive across millennia, exists in part to protect that single exposed region. They tuck it away from threats. They guard it from strangers. They keep it hidden from anything uncertain. And yet, your cat rolled over in your presence, stayed there, relaxed into it. Not because they necessarily want to be touched. Some do, some will absolutely remind you with their teeth that they do not. But because in your company, the alarm went silent. You are not a threat to them. You are not neutral. You are, at a level deeper than they could ever articulate, a sanctuary. The most exposed position their body can take, and they chose it in your presence. That is not a small gesture, dressed up in fur and softness. That is one of the most profound statements of trust one living creature can make to another. Watch them when they groom. Not you, just near you. Grooming is one of the most private acts a cat performs. It requires complete internal absorption, total environmental safety, an absolute absence of threat. When your cat settles beside you and begins that careful, methodical attention to their paws, their ears, their chest, they are not ignoring you. They are doing something rarer. They are being their most private self in your presence, without any need to hide. Your company didn't make them retreat into guardedness. It made them feel safe enough to tend to themselves. But when they groom you, when that rough, warm tongue finds your hand, your hair, the back of your wrist, that is something else entirely. Among cats, mutual grooming, what researchers call allo-grooming, is the language of family. It is reserved for those inside the innermost circle. For those the cat has decided, at a cellular level, belong to them. They do not groom strangers. They do not groom those they merely tolerate. When they include you in that ritual, they are not being friendly. They are being familial. They are placing you inside a bond that their species has used to define closeness since long before they ever walked into our homes. When your cat presses their forehead into yours, when they bump a cheek against your hand, when they walk past your legs and drag their face slowly along your shin, they are doing something deliberate. Cats carry scent glands along their face, and that behavior, called bunting, is how they mark what is theirs. What is safe? What is home? You are not simply being greeted in those moments. You are being claimed. Your cat has decided, somewhere below the level of conscious thought, that you belong inside their world, and they are quietly, ceremonially labeling you as such every single time they do it. Watch how rarely that gesture is extended to others. Visitors, strangers, even people who have been in your home for years. The headbutt is not given casually. It is given to the chosen. When it happens between you and your cat, it is not cute, though it is that too. It is ceremonial. It carries weight. Receive it accordingly. And then there are the moments that ask nothing of you, that require no drama, no interpretation, no effort to notice, and yet contain everything. Your cat, asleep in the middle of the floor, not tucked into a corner, not folded behind the couch, not hidden under anything. Just there, open and exposed, in a room where people move. A cat that carries fear or anxiety sleeps small. It sleeps hidden. It sleeps where nothing can approach from behind. A cat that sleeps in open spaces, limbs loose, body relaxed, completely unguarded in the flow of daily household life. That cat has decided, at the deepest level of its nervous system, that this place is safe, that the beings moving through this space will not harm it, that peace, specifically, was built by you, moment by moment, day by day, without you ever knowing you were building it. Or the quieter moments still, your cat resting beside you, and then, slowly, without urgency, extending one paw and letting it come to rest against your leg. Not pressing, not demanding, just there. One small, warm point of contact. That is grounding behavior. In their most open and vulnerable state, when every guard is down and the world is soft, they reach for you. Not for stimulation, not for warmth they couldn't find elsewhere. For you, specifically, it is the closest approximation to holding hands that a cat's body was ever designed to offer. And it passes, most nights, completely unnoticed. Your cat has been saying all of this to you for as long as you've shared space. The blink from across the room before the lights go out. The body that appears, without invitation, in every room you enter. The belly offered up like an open palm. The tongue that finds your hand in a moment of quiet. The forehead pressed to yours. The sleep that happens only in your presence, loose and unguarded and completely real. The paw that reaches out in the dark. And here is what that trust looks like from the inside. An animal that could survive without you, that was wired across millions of years to need no one, that guards its vulnerability the way most creatures guard their life, choosing, again and again, to be small and open and undefended in your presence, choosing your lap over every quiet corner, your face over every safer distance, your company over every easier alternative. That is not affection as performance. That is love as the deepest form of trust one creature can extend to another. You have been receiving it all along. You just needed the language. Tonight, when your cat finds you, and they will find you, and they settle in, slow and certain, the way they always do, let yourself understand what that arrival means. For them, it was never something small. It was never automatic. Every single time, they chose you, quietly, completely, without ever needing you to know.